standing as the end of the 4th chapter comes, one of my favorite verses. Therefore, we do not lose heart, even as this outward man is perishing, the inward man is being renewed day by day. So that's the thought that Paul is working upon as we enter into the 5th chapter. And he writes, for we know that if our earthly house, this tent, is destroyed, we have a building from God, a house not made with human hands, eternal in the heavens. For this we groan earnestly, desiring to be clothed with our habitation which is from heaven. If, indeed, having been clothed, we shall not be found naked. For we who are in this tent groan, being burdened, not because we want to be unclothed, but further clothed, that mortality may be swallowed up by life. Now, he who is preparing us for this very thing is God, who also has given us the Spirit as a guarantee. Therefore, we are always confident, knowing that while we are here at home in the body, we are absent from the Lord. For we walk by faith, not by sight. This is God's word for us, God's people. Let's pray about that. Lord, we ask that your word might be revealed to us in its fullness, that this interpretation of it might be faithful to that word and cause us to grow in the process. We ask all of this through the grace of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen. Well, some of you noticed the Mustang convertible out there. Yep, that's mine. It's my toy. 1995. But what started that for me was I needed a car, and a friend of my brother's had passed away, and there was this 1966 GT convertible, white, with a red pony interior. And it had simulated wood grain and a lock reverse 4-speed transmission. It even had disc brakes on the front. Really unique for that year model and for any American car. And oh man, I love that car. I had it for 17 years, and during those 17 years, I bought it with rust on the rear quarter panels, and I learned how to use Bondo and to do the fiberglass work. I even at night class went in and did a demonstration for speech class on how to prepare that mix of material in order for you to apply it to a vehicle. Oh, I learned how to spray paint and do touch-up work. And I also learned that sometimes I couldn't do it myself, that I had to get somebody else to do this restoration project of this vehicle. And I had it painted completely twice, had rear quarter panels pieces from J.C. Whitney put on it. And finally, one day, my mechanic, Mr. Bowman, said to me, I can't pass it for inspection anymore. You're going to have to do something. Because when I would go to open it, I'd have to lift the door, pull it open because the frame, being unibody construction, was sagging. Well, that was 1989, and my sons were in my life, and here's these little tykes running around, and me going, I can't afford to do a total restoration of this, so I had to sell. Years later, my son Nate said, Dad, look what I found in one of those car magazines. Over in Hanover, there was a 1995 Mustang convertible, red interior, white paint. He said, that's just like the one you had. It's newer, but so I got it And you know what happens? If it's driven, you're going to get the little dings and dents, the cuts in the material. Because we can't keep things just as they are. Permanent restoration project. No, that's not permanent. That's an effort to preserve what we have. And that's you and me, too. See, the Mustang for us is a symbol of how we try to preserve things and keep them just the same, not letting things be affected by all that which is around us. And, well, we just can't do it. Life happens. Problems come. Difficulties come. Illnesses come. Loss of loved ones come. And all of this is about this journey called life. But in the process, we keep trying to preserve what is and what was, because we think that if we stretch it out, it's what might be. But that's not the case. Not at all. Now, I pause to say, why did I pick this message, this particular text, for this particular morning in this message? Permanent Restoration Project. Sounds like we're going to talk about death and it's over. In the midst of endings, there are new beginnings. And that's a point I want to emphasize this morning before you. So Paul, in his writing, brings forth an understanding to the Corinthian church. Now, in 1 Corinthians, a previous letter he sent, he wants to tell them about this marvelous mystery. We shall not all die. And there was a misinterpretation of that in the Corinthian community. Those who were the spiritual know-it-alls of that era, the Gnostics, they were the spiritual snobs, let's face it. They, I have Jesus closer in my life than you do attitude. That's what they had. And what caused that to be was that they thought that they were spiritually superior and that they didn't have to really live out this life, that there was this eternal being that was not affected by the physical body. Paul needed to correct that. Excuse me. And in doing so, he wrote to the church again in 2 Corinthians, telling them about this life that we have, these physical bodies of ours, that they are temporary. They are not permanent. So Paul, the tent maker, then creates this image, an illustration, because he knows how to make tents. He knows how to repair them. And he calls these bodies of ours, these earthly bodies, a tent that we dwell in. And I could not help but think of, back in the days of ancient Israel, that God wanted a tabernacle, and he said, use a tent because it's temporary. That's what he told Moses. And then eventually a temple was built. Paul's image for us is likened to that. He says this tent that we dwell in, this earthly body, this temporary body, will one day be given over to a house, a permanent home for who we are, the essence of who we are, all of our personality, what we know about being and life itself is that which will be housed in this new body, in a new place, in a new time, in a new creation, in glory. Well, Paul wasn't finished there. Paul wanted them to understand that in this life, we suffer. We have difficulties, we struggle. But in the midst of that, when we believe that these which clothe us, clothe the being of who we are, will be there. There is a new clothing that comes, a new understanding of who we are, that God will replace and cause all that which is this temporary, this suffering, this struggle, the circumstances that come to us daily, will one day be gone, done, over, put aside for this new life that we will have. In glory, in the presence of the living God. So Paul then says, in the meantime, we groan. Another interpretation for that word in the Greek language is sigh. So the sigh of the Spirit, the groaning, the longing to be what we long to be. Not what we are, but what God will cause to be, is what brings us to this moment. For we've prayed about a lot of folks this morning, a lot of folks who have come to distress in their lives. And that's part of this groaning. Lord, must it be this way? We've prayed that. Take this burden from me. Or one of the classic lines, which is, God gives us no more than we can handle. And Todd went, is that, we know that. No, God doesn't want us to suffer. God doesn't want us to have all the problems that we have. And God hears that sigh of our spirits. The sigh that says, Lord, when will all of this which is about physicality, about emotions, about psychology, about spirituality, when will that all end and we are made complete? Well, that will come. That's the promise. Now, Paul then tells us, in the midst of this, that the Holy Spirit's working in us. See, because we're groaning and saying, oh, man, come on, Lord, bring your kingdom. Or heal me now. Or cause a double portion of your grace to come. The Holy Spirit works in a contrary fashion, re-educating us, redesigning us to be part of a permanent renovation, a permanent change that is part of this transformation, this transition from what we are to what we will be. And the Holy Spirit keeps working on us, and even as we fail and fall short, even as we suffer, even as we groan, Lord, when the Spirit's working in us to evolve us and change us, to be new and different, ready for what will ultimately come to us. Now, I get to this place and this point that, where that verse says we accept by faith, not by sight. Oh, but there's wonderful news. You see, now, by the power of the Holy Spirit, we are accepting by faith what God promises. But there will be a day when we no longer need these bodies of ours. We put them aside, rusty and joints that won't work, and knee replacements and Botox and all that stuff that we errantly believe is who we are. Oh yeah, it's easy for you to say that, skinny pastor. But get it. There is that which is precious in us. The faithfulness, the power of God's grace working in us to make us into new beings, that one day we will see, and we will know that we are in the presence of the living God on that other side in glory. So we have this reassurance that in the present moment, God's working while we're incomplete. But then we have this wonderful good news of the promise that is to come. Now, how does that work for this permanent restoration process and our moment right now of this, Liddick, you're leaving us. There are endings and there are beginnings. And the wonderful news about God's grace is that you and I, while we have been on this journey 10 months as a temporary friendship, a temporary relationship, there is a permanence about who we are jointly. For we, what joy it will be. Susan will tell me in that heavenly realm, oh, it's good to see you again. Jim will do likewise. Mike, Josie, Dick, Bill. There will come that moment when we are all in glory and will be reunited in fellowship once more. These bodies, this moment is temporary, but we're celebrating together what is permanent, what God will call us to be in a wonderful and great future for all of us who love the Lord. Soon that will come to be. Soon and very soon. I want you to sing along with me in response to that. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we're going to see the King. No more dying there, we are going to see the King. No more dying there, we are going to see the King. No more dying there, we are going to see the King. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we're going to see the King. Third verse. No more crying there, we are going to see the King. No more crying there, we are going to see the King. No more crying there, we are going to see the King. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we're going to see the King. Heavenly Father, thank you. Thank you for that assurance of you being in control of all things, that there is a destiny for us, that these temporary bodies will not be fitted for, but there will be a permanent restoration project that you are working in us and will be made complete in that day that we enter into glory, and we will fellowship one with the other once more. We thank you, we praise you in the name of Christ our Savior. Amen.